Right. I could
Yeah.
imagine with
Hmm.
what changes have happened with society over the last 5 or 6 decades. I'm sure the hubris that we have has changed quite a bit.
Right.
So I'm sitting and I'm listening and I'm thinking about all these experiences that you're telling me and
Hmm.
how you've sort of, for a while, unknowingly lived in this orgasmic state. And then you go through this traumatic events of uh, dealing with the killer and dealing with the personality of women, sort of first entering the sex work, then moving into the clinical studying um, psychological side. How did all of this stuff uh, start to affect your personal relationships? So what did you learn about yourself as you're um, navigating, finding this career path? How are you engaging with partners? Or are you realizing that you like this particular love style more than another? You know, what were you, what information were you gathering and noticing coming up?
Mm. Now or then or
I would say retrospectively speaking, what
okay.
going on?
Okay. Sure, sure. Relating to my partners.
Yeah.
Please believe.
And you don't have to go
Yeah,
in detail like, you know, this person and that person, but just sort of an
yeah.
overview of what
Sure.
that development looked like, you know, because I know we've had personal conversations about some things. So I'm just curious of how that's developed in your sense of amory and your sense of um, what relationship styles were important or how your, you know, you talked a little bit about choosing your sexual partners and, you know, consent and being able to listen, but what other things were developing just so we can have
Yeah.
a full picture.
Sure. Thank you. Sitting in my heart space. So anytime you see me look this way, it's because I'm listening to my
Yes, sir.
my divine self. Yes, I'm listening to myself. Yeah. Yes, and that's the gift and the curse of being so present. Sometimes I don't know what I'm thinking until you ask me. um, so with partners, gosh, I've learned so many really, really deep lessons for myself. I'm speaking specifically for myself. Um, One of the things that was a really big question that I had been searching for from maybe 15 years old, and uh, I want to say is I questioned monogamy a lot. Um, Monogamy didn't exist for me. I'm using these words now, but then it didn't exist for me. And I could not understand why you would, I would choose one person over another to spend the rest of my life with. It just, it made no sense to me whatsoever. And I really had to, and as that training that was offered at the Institute, I still hold it in asking myself and questioning the why. How do I feel about that? What makes me feel that way? Um, and it comes back to love for me and how I love. And I have become very comfortable with myself in my answer of not questioning it any longer. And that took some years to get there, because of just, you know, the society that we're in, and you know, us understanding, you know, what nuclear home was, and nuclear family, and all of these things that didn't exist for me in my life at all. So I didn't know where I fit, what, you know, what was happening. I learned that who I choose in my relationships are a direct reflection of me. And even the ones that are pissing me off, even the ones that have hurt me dramatically, where did I leave the space for that? And not coming from a space of me being too hard on myself, or and I'm using words that have come up in my reflection, to not being too hard on myself, or having an expectation that I should be one way or another, but rather just you can't have a victim without having a perpetrator. You can't have offense without having defense. And in understanding sexual energy and sexual flow, or excuse me, our orgasmic flow, rather, I'm using that incorrectly. Addressing how our sexual energy flows, whatever I am emoting, consciously and unconsciously, will bring to me the sum of what it is that is in front of me in this moment, in everything. So my navigation as a divine energy being, it is nothing but me choosing the experiences I wish to have. And so in choosing partners, it really is just a reflection of what it is that I wish to experience. And so that's how I choose my partners. And because of my presence and how I work to be present, there is no question on whether or not this is a deeply profound connection, because I walk profoundly connected. I have had a few partners, primary partners, transition. They have died in my life. And that was the one thing that I still didn't have a full understanding of. Yo, why my partners keep dying? You know, what's up with that? Like, I get, you know, if like I got, a partner that, you know, is like, you know, very narcissistic, and, you know, or just, you know, very active, or super sensitive. I get all of that stuff, right? All that emotional, I get all of that. Cool. But then I'm like, well, why I keep having my partners die on me? What's going on with that?
When that killer cooch on them, that touches orgasm, done got touched.
Oh man, that would be a gift and a curse. Oh my goodness.
You done gave him too much energy. Suck it all out.
Wait, what was the name of that movie with the vagina with the teeth?
Teeth. That was the name of it. Teeth.
Oh, teeth.
The thing I went back to was Richard Pryor's stand-up when he talked about when his dad died. And he was like, you know, his dad died when he was having sex with his girlfriend. And he was like, For about 2 years, she couldn't get that pussy away. Well, nobody touching it. Like, you want some of this? No, I'm good. Thank you. It's okay.
Yo, not for nothing. Okay, it's only because I'm talking to you.
Oh, man.
But real talk, you know, I hear my peers, my sexological peers talk about all these things that they get in their DMs. But like nobody slips into my DMs talking no slackness to me ever. Nobody, no, I do not. And now I'm saying it. It's gonna.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
And when I say slackness, sorry, that's a Brooklyn Jamaican term. It just means openness to express yourself in the rawest form of your sexuality as possible.
Right.
That might be a dick pic. That might be, yo, you got some Cash App so you could, you know, but
well,
but
somebody
no
said challenge accepted.
What did I just do? But I'm fine with it. But I mean, but the point is that and I laughed about that. I laughed about it because like I don't have those problems, you know, where people are coming up. But I have plenty of people that, you know, will DM me, hello goddess, greetings goddess, how you know, that's what's in my DM, which I'm very happy and proud of.
You know, funny. It's funny. Hello goddess is the new. Hey, Shaw, what's your name?
Hey, Shaw.
Hey, Shaw. Hey, Red. Light skin. Brown skin.
Yo, you know, but even catcalling was different for me too. Even catcalling. I didn't get the catcalling the way everybody kept talking about when that whole thing was happening for the world in America. I got catcalling early on when I was just hitting the streets like this, you know, which was around 12, 11. But because of that attitude, I was able to check them right away. And so because of that, I believe because of the energy that I continued to feed in that arousal, like, oh, that's how I'm being addressed. Well, let me let you know this, right? Back then I had plenty practice. So I think I naturally vibrate this energy where I want to acknowledge that I'm speaking in this way because I'm also speaking to, again, people that don't necessarily understand what this is. So I'm not speaking with any definitives, and I want you to think about it as well, as my reflection. So, you know, when I'm in the streets now, I mean, yo, I could be looking sometimes I leave this house looking like real, like I don't have no home, like, you know, disheveled, and I will still get greetings, goddess, good afternoon, goddess. I'm saying hi to you because I know that you are highly blessed. Like that's how my reflection in my world speaks to me.
Wow.
That is what walking orgasmically is for me.
Some real 1% game right there.
Yo, like, camel toe and all. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it is definitely a privilege. It's a privilege, and I know that it's a privilege, and so I hold space for those that are being harassed and they're very uncomfortable, and I hold space for those that are looking in themselves for how and what vibration can they evoke to shift that, and not saying by no means saying that anyone is at fault, because no one is at fault. This flow again has started well before you were even born. So we're just moving through this. We're moving through this. Again, there's no fear. And when we have orgasm, when we walk in bliss, there's no fear. And fear looks like all these different things. But I don't walk with that. So the energy just hits different. And that's my conversation, also bringing it back to walking orgasmically, and the life and death conversation. It's all still very connected. If anyone talks to me, in a way, because I'm so used to being spoken to a certain way, if someone makes me repeat myself too many times, there's something that kicks up. It's like, wait, and then I have to check my divinity and say, whoa, chill. It's okay. They don't know. It's all right. Okay, so we here. Instead of this, I know you're not talking to. Like, to be offended is a luxury. To be offended is a privilege, right? So I'm not expecting anything, because sexual energy is all things, and I am all those things. We are all those things. It's just what we choose to observe. Yeah.
Speaking of observing vibrations and sexual energy, we met at Sex Down South conference. Talk a little bit about that experience, what you were doing there. Shout out to Tia and Marla. Love you guys.
Tia and Marla.
Just got my invite back, so you'll see Love Thy Body there again for the second time.
Yes.
But yeah, okay. Tell us about your Sex Down South experience and what that was like.
Side note, what y'all just witnessed was a Sex Down South facilitator, like, joy that we got accepted again so that we could keep sharing this love. So yes. So I was there because I was presenting orgasm as a healing modality. And and I will just say that time that I was doing that, it's not the first time I presented. I presented many places with lots and lots of people all over the country, but Sex Down South was a very special thing that I held. Not that everything else was not special, but it was a new special thing that I held, because it would be the first time that I really got to share in this kind of setting with my peers. And for years, I was just like, well, I'm not serving my peers. I'm serving my peers. I'm always serving my peers. But it's like I wasn't checking for my other practitioners and my other facilitators, because I know that they're good. And the urgency is not for us, because we're already doing the work. It's for those that need the work. So presenting to my peers was like another mirror moment.
Right.
Yes. Afraid to look at myself. And I felt it very viscerally. I'm telling you, it was, I hit up Marla. I was like, on a text message, I'm like, I don't feel good. I don't know if I can try. I don't feel good. I might be late.
Oh man, the nerves is getting to you.
And my class started at 8 a.m. My session started at 8 a.m. Wow. So, and I was the first, and it was 8 a.m. and everyone was like partying the night before. So anyone that showed up at 8 a.m.
they had to want to be there.
Right.
They had to really want to be there.
Right. So again, I'm faced with this build up, right? This build up. I'm really trying to get out I'm really trying to get off this couch. And I know that I got my Uber, my Lyft. I don't take Uber. My Lyft is 30 minutes away. So, yo, I gotta do this. And I'm like, oh, I can't. I felt like I was gonna die. I don't even have these kind of fears. So I was like, oh my, I've jumped out of planes 10,000 feet in the air and not had this kind of fear. So it's just to say it's all perspective. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
So so I finally got myself up. I'm fumbling. I got my things. I'm like, oh. And I get to the hotel, the Sheraton, and shout out to the Sheraton for holding us down so amazingly. And I'm 30 minutes late for my own session.
Oh shit.
30 minutes late. I am not like that. Like not like when I was working at the watch company. Like
Right.
I'm the sexy. I'm excited to do this stuff. What is happening? This is the interface with my fear. So I show up, and the people that were waiting showed up too. And so I'm getting my stuff together, and I come face to face with this one person. And I'm gonna reserve saying their name, but it was such a magical moment. That person was so mad at me. They said, I left the parties early to come and see you. And I was like, yeah, this is happening, isn't this? This is the face of everything. This is the face of everything. Like, wake the fuck up. Are you gonna do this work? What's going on?
Right.
So I interfaced with this, and I surrendered to it. I didn't fight back. I didn't even bring up how sick I was feeling. I didn't bring up anything. I surrendered to it. I shut my mouth. I had no excuses. I said, you're right. You're right. She let me have it. They let me have it. And of course, they were co-signers because there were others in the room. So I was getting, ooh, and mind you, I'm also a martial artist. So,
You're getting jumped. You ain't Bruce Lee. You was getting jumped. Ain't no second chance, Sam. You ain't counting through right years.
Energetically jumped, and with my own consent, clearly, because I said to myself that I wasn't getting up off of that couch on time.
Right. I'm gonna take the game.
So I consented to that. Yes. That's how consent looks sometimes, y'all. When I decided I didn't want to get up and be there on time or early, I knew that there was a chance that I was gonna get energetically jumped. So, but I didn't know, but I knew. I didn't know, but I knew. So, so after I got jumped, I just let them take me, and then I said, okay, well, after when I let my, and I was panicking, right, because I was getting attacked, right, and once I surrendered, I was no longer being attacked. I was just observing as this flow as I was getting fucked up. So I just said, because I surrendered, I could hear myself. And what myself said through my words was, okay, well, I understand that you're upset. And luckily, we are in an orgasm for healing modality session. And
this was an exercise. I needed you to be upset so that we could properly all be in the same space to do this work together.
If you give me a chance to show you what my work does, and you are open to this, then I will show you what orgasm as a healing modality will do. And then I said, are you open to that? I asked for their consent. And they all said yes. And then I said, okay. So I put down, I died and got buried. And then I was like, I'm born again, hey. And I took care of that class, and I did my work, and we got it, and we got into it, and we got that zone, and we were in it, and we were in that orgasmic space. And I'm telling you, till now, that the person that led that beat down, like, we chill. We really chill. Like, we are so chill. Like, we talked maybe another hour afterwards. So it's to say that when we surrender, it was me proving my own work to myself. Over and over and over and over again. And my work isn't my work. My work is just the language of our existence in all the different manners that we express it. Sexual energy is everything, and everything is sex. So I then ran into and then after I finished my work, then I said, oh, let me see what kind of workshops do I want to do. Let me see. Oh. Okay. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I saw there was like Love Thy Body, and then but at the same time there was a Midori situation happening.
Right.
And I was like, and everyone who, shout out to Midori, you're amazing.
Love Midori. I'm gonna have her on soon too.
And the thing is that I think when I was walking by, but then Midori's class was so far in, and I was like, oh, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to really catch this the way I know I want to catch it. And I know that she's also doing the keynote. So you know what? That's cool. I'm going to wait for the keynote. And then I said, oh, let me see. Wait, what's in here? And I was like, oh, everybody's naked in this room. Oh, my God. Wait, I'm coming back. Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
It's fine. That actually happened.
No, that literally happened. I was like, people are naked. Ah! And then so I'm not gonna take this off because I'm getting hot. And so I did not know that was the Love Thy Body workshop. I had no idea that that's what that was. I didn't know it was gonna look like that. Right. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I go in and like I'm taking off my clothes because everybody's already naked. So I'm like, oh shit, I gotta catch up. So I'm taking off my clothes, and as I'm taking off my clothes, I'm like, wait, what workshop is this?
That's funny.
Again, I didn't know that was the...
As I'm doing the workshop, I'm not hearing this. I'm just seeing it. I'm just
he's
kind of like, yeah, come in. Didn't really know you. We had met through a mutual friend maybe the day before for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
At this point, we had virtually no conversation.
Right. And by the way, when I met him that one time, for like that 2 minutes, he approached me with an English accent. And so I'm like, oh, we international up in this bitch. Yeah. Not knowing when I show up to the workshop.
I mean, it can't be all hip hip and cheerio shop, it's my...
It was really good, y'all. It was a good accent. So
I mean, every once in a while I'll jolly put you on, It's a good operation to see how people really feel about things, yeah.
Right.
But it was interesting. So what was your impression of the class? I guess I'll set it up. But I'm curious to hear what your impression of that class was. You're actually the first guest I've had that was at the class, so you'll be the first one to really kind of talk about it. Sure.
Can we pause for a moment? Okay.
So it's interesting because you're actually the first guest we've had on that was at my class of at any level. So you get to give people a firsthand of where this podcast came from and what that experience was like. So from your perspective, what you saw, we'll start there, and then I'll go back and give them the full setup of what happened, because I know you came in a little late.
Yes, I did come in a little late. So I did not get to experience the first half of the Love Thyself workshop that was going on, because I didn't find out that that was the Love
Love my
Thyself
body.
workshop. Love Love Thy Body workshop. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Love Thy Body workshop, until I got in there, and I'm already like, I'm taking off maybe the last piece of my clothing. Because if there's a group of naked people, I want to be there. Like, I want to be there. So, but then I started asking questions, because I'm still doing that while I'm being my freest self. I'm just like, so what are y'all doing here? And then I started to experience person after person after person in your Love Thy Body workshop telling me how moved they were, telling me how you comforted them, telling me how amazing you are. I walked into your reflection. I walked into your reflection, and whatever, all I understand is energy first, right? So whatever I walked into, whatever energy field I walked into in that room, thanks Sheraton, was full of these small mirrors of you, all of them telling me about their open, like they had already touched their orgasmic peaks. I was walking into their orgasmic spaces, and everyone was saying how you assisted, you shepherded, you led them, you gave them the reference point, this place here, you are here, in finding comfort in their body. And if you've heard anything that I've said before, that touched me in such a deep way before I even got to know who you were. I was like, oh my goodness, who is this person? And I felt everyone. That was the other part. I felt it. Energy is my work. So it was a very soft and loving and warm and nurturing energy that I walked into. And I was like, who is this person? So I said, okay, I want to be a part of this. And I looked over because the chairs are all to the side, and everyone's clothes and everything is over there. Everyone is either getting dressed or because it's towards the end. And I see there's a group of people all naked over here, and then Skywind is here, and then there is a camera set, a backdrop for people to take photos, and it's like well lit, and Skywind is on the floor nude with the camera, and like and his body is contorted into a way that is like, you know, I mean, later we find out, but you know, like a b-boy stand slash gymnast, where like, cause his body is all contorted while his camera is up here, like, so maybe his knee, his camera, and his ear were all in one place. and I was just listening to you give direction on but the way you were giving direction wasn't the way people understand direction. You were doing it as I would see, like you were very fluent in expressing sexual energy through language or relating rather, because all you were doing was asking people about themselves. You were talking to them about their experiences. And in between the experiences, you were saying, wait, stop right there. Okay, continue, you know, and from that, you then showed them the magic. You would take a whole, I don't know how many photos you were taking, but then while you were shooting them, then you showed them the images and the eyes, the expressions of their faces when they saw what you captured was a face that I recognized as surprise, as surprise first. First is surprise. There were other emotions that came after that, but that was the constant. As if you taught them something new about themselves that they couldn't get to. Like it was a door that you opened that they didn't even know existed in their own damn house. That's the face that I saw. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm next. But I wasn't. And then just as we were still wrapping up, it was time to shift to the next session for the keynote that Midori was going to share. And so there were a few of us that stayed afterwards to just be able to still shoot with you and just finish, which Skywind was very generous with his time on that. And then I got to mine. I'll just fast forward to mine now. And I've only had one nude shoot previous. And I love those images. It was different, but I've never really been, I've never been photographed. And I mean, and I used to represent photographers. But there was an intimacy or a vibration that I felt like I required to be in front of the camera in that way. And this is also coming from a place where, in that storyline that I was telling you, I may not have had a problem looking into the mirror, but the idea of standing in front of a camera was an issue. It was an issue because it challenged my letting go. It's really easy to do something and let it go. But then when a camera is in front of you and it records, then it's sustained in a very conscious way. And maybe I was at that time having a challenge with accepting the continuum of us. And so Skywind just talked to me, just like how we're doing now. And the images that he showed me at the end, I couldn't even, wait, you showed me a few. You showed me a few that at the end, and I did have surprise, but I did look at it like it was me. Like, that's me. But I didn't get to see all of them. And I was like, well, that was amazing. And I did feel very connected to what you showed me. And even during the shoot, you shared with me who you were, pieces of you, as you wish to express them. And in that moment, what you triggered in me by way of your expression or the exchange was me coming to face that continuum, now that I'm really looking back at it, because I was asking you questions about what happened, why all these people are telling me all these amazing things. And Skywind proceeded to tell me his background. He told me the story of one of his assignments in school and how he had to be resilient. And y'all gonna have to hear that story another time, but from him. But it spoke to how fluid he is, his emotional agility, his perception and observation of self, being able to be participant and observer in the same space so powerfully and so consistently and unyielding and uninterrupted. And it was that made me say, oh my God, I need to know this person. I want to know more. And I just became very hungry for, which is also new because I'm not always hungry for, so when I find these personas that bring this thing out in me, right, is a reflection that I'm enjoying, a reflection that brings me deeper love of self, and self, capital S, and self also everyone else in the world. So in my meeting you, you helped me to learn to love deeper in that moment with just you sharing your story. So I felt almost like I got a whole lot extra that everyone else only got that 2 or 3 minutes of in your Love Thy Body workshop. And I just have such profound gratitude for your existence. So that was my experience at SDS. Like that was my experience. So it was such a gift, and there were so many. So you gotta know, like that whole thing was very, very orgasmic to a point of complete stillness for me. Like complete stillness. Like during our end of that weekend, during the end of that weekend, when we all had our party, and man, this is the best industry ever because of just how we can be so free and still so conscious and with each other, that I walked into this meditation where I had to just stop. I could not move. There was about 30 minutes had passed. I didn't know, but 30 minutes had passed, and I was standing in our unisex, what's the other?
Yeah, it was a unisex bathroom.
Unisex bathroom, and my hands were on my womb, and I could not move. I couldn't move. Like I had been so orgasmic in everything that I experienced singularity in that moment. And in that moment, because I could not move, the only thing that I felt was, you are worthy, 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 you are worthy. Because that was the only thing that could have been felt, because there's just so much, it's such an instead of it being overwhelming, that orgasmic love, that energy, that acceptedness of all things, it required that I expel no energy whatsoever physically, and only hold the observation of the vibration of, you are worthy, so that I will be all accepting of everything that is coming, everything that is entered, that is being stirred up during Marla and Tia's conference. And how dope that this thing is that while I was in that space, there were people that came to check, and people were like, hi, I just want to make sure, do you need anything? These are the voices that I'm hearing. And I'm just like, I'm fine, thank you. Another, just a little later, just checking on you. And this was in a bathroom where there's parties going on, there's sex going on, there's it's all sex. All of these things are going on.
With toys.
Yeah, live, like it's live. Yeah. It's live. And people still had the consciousness to just make sure that this chick that's standing in the corner right here and she's not moving, let me just make sure she's good.
Yeah.
That's how dope we are. How when we're in that orgasmic space, when we're in that bliss-filled space, there's no fear of even each other, that we have enough space that even that when you're having the best time and you are distracted and there's a million distractions, that we still have enough time to check on ourselves and others. That quick. This is our divine intelligence. This is why sexuality, sexual energy, understanding the perspective is so important. So important. So important. We are energy. We are not people and then Mother Earth. Like, nah, we all of it. We're all of it. So when you talk about things like, you know, it's even in the power of our language, when we really start to get into that and really know our divinity, when we start talking like it and walking like it, like then we're feeding it. But it requires a responsibility, an intention, a presence. And when you're even in that presence, because it's so orgasmic, then you can find all these gifts in everything. And because you are in that space and you can find gifts in everything, then it also means that when things that may be uncomfortable, like death, show up, sickness show up, pain show up, you'll find that that is no different. It's just a different frequency. But the release is still the same. The release is still the same. And sitting in it and surrendering to it is still the same. It's still the same. It's fractals. It's fractals. We are the pattern. We are the energetic pattern. And the moment that you resist it, you allow that energy, that pattern that's looking to be expressed through emotion or visuals or whatever that pattern is. When you allow yourself to surrender to that pattern or have a higher frequency that you can change the pattern, that's the navigation. That's what walking orgasmically is. That's what walking in our divine selves is. That's our primordial worth. That is the reason why it's so important to understand that sex is not separate, that it's not dirty, that the body is not dirty, that whatever you do is all you and just how you express. So I'm just sitting in this gratitude because even in this pandemic, it allows us opportunity to finally be able to observe that, even if it's painful. Because how else are we going to shift our pattern if we don't sit in it? You know? So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's some great insight into what your experience at Sex Down South.
Yeah. It was
all the workouts that you experienced, mine, yours, and you know, just some of the other memories. So if you haven't been to a Sex Down South, you gotta go. Mm-hmm. If you have,
gotta go.
Look forward to seeing you
Such
there.
Good energy.
As we're talking about energy, let's shift energy a little bit to a different topic, which is sort of my lane, which is media, where you've had quite a bit of traction. Talk about some of the more memorable interviews you've had, and what some of your frustrations are with dealing with the media and the conversation around sexuality.
Yeah, thank you for that question. This is another orgasmic point for me, so thank you. Or what I mean to say for those for translation, there was some buildup around that conversation within myself. I did gain a little bit of traction in media, and some of my memorable moments around that time was there's okay. So the one at the Breakfast Club, okay, so Charlemagne, now I was touring with Touchless Orgasm, and I was showing everyone how we can access orgasm without being touched, so we can also tap into bliss state and working with energy. And so we went onto the Breakfast Club, who I was touring with, and that was with Punani Poet. Charlemagne jumped out of his seat, jumped on the floor, and said, "Okay, do it to me." And then I'm like, I don't think it's not gonna work like that. Like we got cameras, you just playing, like we need a minute to, and he's like, no, come on. And so, I get it. It's media. I know it needs to be entertaining. I totally get it. That's why we're in this pandemic. We're having this conversation. And I asked him to do some of the exercises. And not even midway, as I started, because it's very high energy in that little studio, lots of energy, lots of powerful beings that are all shooting at the same time. Mm-hmm. And he goes, what? I gotta tighten my butt? But, and I'm also dealing with my camera issue. Mm-hmm. So when I'm dealing with that, I'm laughing, because that was my go-to, to laugh. And then I laugh, and even on video you can see it. I laugh, and as I laugh down, right? Because this was a confidence thing, and so when you're feeling that ha, right? So because those fears are experienced in our bodies different ways, and so I went down, and what it looks like on camera is that I headbutted his crotch, but I did not. Just to let y'all know, I did not headbutt his crotch. It was just perspective.
Right. Foreshortening, as we call it in the industry.
Huh?
Foreshortening, as we call it in the industry.
Forward shortening. Thank you. It was forward shortening, y'all. All right? Just letting you know. Another one. So there was no way for me to even bring him there at all. Not me, because of the energy that I brought there, which was that nervous energy. So there was no way we were going to get this deep during that time. There was no way. And then on top of it, all those other personalities in the room are like, what? Texas organ? I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing that. All right, let me do it. So whatever. Moving on. The second one that was really memorable real fast was Sway. Sway on Sirius. And we were being interviewed while Trump was being inducted into office the same day. Wow. The same time.
Wow.
And one of the questions was about him and what do I think is going on with him, and I said, I know that he's not having the orgasms that I am talking about. He's not. He's not. He can't be. He can't be.
Never even been close to one.
Huh?
He's never even been close to one.
Yeah.
He hasn't even had an American Pie.
No, not even the American Pie.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, when you really start to walk orgasmically, you can tell right away, seeing someone, what that is for them, where they are. You can see all of it. There's no lying. There's no hiding it. You can feel it. You know the energy. You know what the energy looks like. You know what it feels like. So that was also interesting. And then I think, and then the most, my nervousness was still like a part of a lot of, I believe, part of the reason why some of these things happened the way they did, why they met there. But also my nervousness is connected to worldview of sexuality.
Right.
And
I mean,
so,
to be fair, like, Charlemagne is out of the three, the host that is the uh, sort of polarizer. He's either gonna push you far one way by agreeing with you and going with some shit, or he's gonna take you the other way and be completely contrarian. So it's like, depending on the topic, the day, how much him and Envy have going on in their weird, romance on air, which is hilarious. It's a great play for the two of them.
It
It makes that show really dynamic and work. It's like, depending on what's going on and who that guest is and how revered they are, you just might walk into some shit. Like, there might not be a win.
right.
That's the chance you take on the Breakfast Club.
That's true.
Someone
Those are
like
some
Sway
portals to walk through.
right. Somebody like Sway is a little more balanced. He's gonna be respectful until he catches something, and then it's all chum in the water if he catches you on some shit, But
right.
So I mean, when you look at these different journalistic styles and plan for radio for some of the shorter formats, what's something that you hope through longer mediums like this podcast, what we're able to do on our socials and through some of the other things that we put together? What are some of those messages that you're hoping to really get?
What are those messages? The biggest message is that it's to be simply to leave space for what you don't know that you don't know. Leave space for what you don't know that you don't know. Have compassion. Be curious. And if you notice that you're not curious, then either find something that you're curious about or ask yourself why. If there's anything to say, because having, I think, those considerations just allow you to navigate everything else. Because sexual energy, I can tell you a million things about sexual energy, but it is everything already. And the only thing is that my seat, where the role that I play is just my path, or the gift that I'm bringing in is to understand how to navigate it, and just doing it from a sexuality perspective that is gleaned through me this way. Yeah.
That's profound. Tell people where they can find you.
Sure. On social media, everywhere, I am at Nikki Experience. Everything from Cash App to Facebook, across the board, Nikki Experience. So, and including the website, nikkiexperience.com. So that's where you can find me. Thank you.
And there you have it. And you know what I thought about? A good show for us? We should do, I think in the Breakfast Club, Yi is probably the one that brings the most facts. But I think her medium lip service is like dope.
That's true. I haven't, and you know what? Her opportunity for her came up twice for me, but it was when I had just finished my interview with Trojan, or not Trojan, but the owners of Trojan. Mm-hmm. And I just sat down with New York Post, and and somebody else, but I remember being so frustrated because there was no way for me to really have a conversation with them the way I really wanted to, because I just felt like, oh my gosh, like when I was talking to the people at with Trojan, they were asking me about touch. They wanted me to talk about touch, and they asked me, well, you know, what do I think is a way to reach, you know, different people around, you know, around this conversation. But they put me in a room with like 4 white men, 1 Asian guy, and 1 white woman. And I'm like, and there's no, like, of course you're not gonna know different ways, because at the core of it, no matter what I say to you, you're gonna process it, your perspective that you hold in the world. So of course you're not gonna get the information and the content that you need, because your very core of the source of what's creating your companies is not diverse. So of course you're not gonna understand. But they don't understand that. or when I did it for New York Post, they gave me someone, a volunteer, right? They chose the person, and I did touch this orgasm on the person, and the person had a laughing gasm, right? An orgasm that came with laughter. And then they interviewed her after, and they asked her questions. They were like, okay, so did you feel aroused? And she said yes. Says, oh, you know, and she even expressed that, you know, she felt, she also felt wet in her underwear. You know, she expressed everything that she experienced. Then they said, oh, okay, great. Well, can you jump back on that table and like have a real orgasm now? And I'm just like, there is no way that in the next 10 minutes that we have for filming, that I'm gonna be able to explain to you right now why what you understand of orgasm is ruining this video right now. So do what you need to do. And so when I was just going through these frustrations, and I'm just like, yo, these are people that are offering information to the general public, and they're not educated, or they're not doing their own self-work. And so I'm not doing no more interviews. I'm done. And so the opportunities that came up, I just said, forget it. No, I'm not. I'm good. I'm good. And then I got hit by the car. And then I got hit by the car. So living orgasmically, also, you need to really be mindful about when you get into this consciousness, because when you have this real frustration that you're not choosing anymore and it's choosing you, that shit will come for you. The same way the love and the goodness comes for you. It's all love. It's all sex. But you know what I mean? So yeah, so it pulled me all the way down, that energy. I went head to head with it. And then I got hit by the car, like SUV hit my body. And I could not access my orgasm the same way. And I had a long stretch to heal. And there was a lot of really fucked up things that happened with it. And and I worked my way out of it. I navigated my way out of it to get my orgasm back and to walk orgasmically again. Like, yo, shit started switching, changing, turning so fast, so dramatically, really fast. So, you know, it's just saying like that it's real for me, and I'm happy to show you what my tools are in that as well.
There you have it.
Yeah.
The indomitable Nikki Morgan. Nikki Experience. This has been today's edition of Love Thy Body. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, Nikki, for coming, and we'll see you soon with another great edition. Make sure you come back, like, subscribe, and check out our links. They're all listed below.